We got some Karen stories. It's been a while since I've had some Karens. I could use the break, to be honest. This was refreshing, but let's get into it. Had my first encounter with a Karen. Lucky you. I've worked in the hotel industry for 42 years. There is little that I have not experienced. However, in all that time, I have not encountered a true Karen. That is until a few nights ago. I have been dealing with this woman for the past month, getting all the reservations sorted out and attached to her group block, assigning room numbers to accommodate mobility issues, and making sure they were all close together, etc. She was always pleasant on the phone. In person, she showed her true colors. Sit back and enjoy while I tell you this story. We are set. First encounter happened at check-in. The hotel I work at is a small resort town in southern Oregon. Due to a really bad fire a couple of years ago, there is no affordable housing, and as a consequence, a very small labor force. So I was at the desk by myself working my way through the line of people. Karen comes in, sees the line, and immediately comes to the desk and starts pounding on the counter. Typical Karen move. Now we have the script between employee versus Karen. Okay, I'll do you'll know the voice that's Karen. In case you're not watching and you're listening to this, this is gonna be Karen. You need to get someone up here to check me in. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm the only one here, but I will get to you as quickly as possible. The GM was here but was handling the phone so that I could focus on check-ins. You better hurry. I won't stand here all day. It took me just under 4 minutes to get through the 5 people in front of her. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. Can I get your last name, please? You know who I am. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't. I've only been talking to people daily for the past month since you effed up my reservations. It was actually her fault. She didn't tell her group to ask for the group block. This let me know exactly who she was. Oh, you must be Karen. Yes, I called her Karen. Sorry, I mean Kathy. We then completed the check-in and she went to her room. Of course, there's more. It wouldn't be a true Karen experience with only one interaction. The phone rings. I answer it. How am I supposed to get a drink of water or brush my teeth? There's a tap in your bathroom, ma'am. Am I supposed to put my head in the sink and drink from the tap? No, ma'am. There are coffee cups and glasses on top of the microwave. I don't have a microwave in my room. All of our rooms have refrigerators and microwaves. Mine doesn't. It does. You might need to close the bathroom door. I hear the sound of the bathroom door closing and then click. She hangs up. A few minutes go by and she calls again. I need a king-size pillow. We only have standard size. Your website says you have a pillow menu. We had one prior to COVID, but now we only have standard polyfill and feather pillows. Bring me 6 feather pillows. All of our feather pillows are in use. You just said you have them. No, ma'am, I said they were on the menu, not that we had any available. Click again. She hangs up. A couple hours go by. Someone is going to come into my room. Someone is trying to get into your room? I'll send security up immediately. Are you dense? That's not what I said. Did you mean you have a guest coming? I can add their name to the computer so they can get a key. You really are stupid. I said someone is going to come into my room. By this time, she was screaming. I can assure you that no one will be given a key to your room unless you authorize it. Including housekeeping. Housekeeping will only enter your room to clean it if the do not disturb sign is not on the door. Finally, she gets it. I'm not sure that I do. Why don't you explain it to me? There is no do not disturb sign in the room. Duh. Oh, my apologies. I have some available at the front desk. Or I'm not coming all the way down there to get something that should have been in my room already. Yes, ma'am, it should have been there. But as I was about to say, I would be happy to put one on your door as I leave in a few minutes. And once again, she hangs up on me. This is getting a little longer than I expected, lol, so I'll summarize the remaining incidents. Number 1, she berated the engineer because the bulbs in her room were too cool. Number 2, yelled at the breakfast attendant because the air conditioner in the breakfast room was turned off, claiming that it was illegal. It was 45 degrees outside and much too cool for air conditioner. 3, yelled at the night auditor at 3 a.m., demanding that she call a manager so she could complain about these issues. Once the auditor called me and Karen realized it was me, she demanded the owner's phone number. I don't even know his name, much less have a way to contact him. Number 4. Threw a comforter at a housekeeper claiming that it was covered in urine stains. It wasn't. Number 5, yelled at the AM FDA regarding dust on the fireplace mantle in the lobby. It was clean. I could continue. There were many more encounters, but I think I've taken enough of your time. I'll just finish up with one last incident. She emailed the GM this morning specifically to complain about me, saying that I was rude, incompetent, and just plain stupid, and that I should be fired immediately. I am happy to report that my wonderful GM called her and told her that while the rest of her wonderful family were welcome to come back anytime, she was now on the DNR list and not allowed back. He then hung up on her. I mean, you don't always see that, where the manager or GM will support the staff and not do the whole customer's always right thing. So I'm kind of happy to hear it, especially if all of this is true and that really was an awful customer experience. Not worth bringing that customer back. It's so funny when entitled customers are like, you're gonna lose my business, I'm never coming back. Truly don't want it. All good here. See you later, except see you never. Entitled family wants to harass their neighbors while on vacation but end up meeting karma. So this isn't a story about one individual acting up, but a family that decided acting like public nuisances was the thing to do until it cost them. For some context, my sister told me and the rest of us the story a week ago during our holiday get-together. A couple other siblings knew something about it, and she was nice enough to elaborate on the results of what went down. For some context, one of my sisters is super social. We have a small enough town, so there isn't anyone she doesn't know about. To handle this though, she keeps her home life very separate from her social life. It's her husband, and 2 black labs. So she lives a ways out of town with only a few local neighbors. Otherwise, her neighbors are cabin owners who aren't usually around. As she puts it, it's a nice quiet place where a person can do whatever the F they want. The issue deals with the cabin immediately next door. The story starts in the spring of 2023. A family of 5 showed up at the cabin. At first, my sister said it was no big deal. She said it just looked like your typical suburbanites, 2 parents, 3 kids. The issue started when brother-in-law started to find trash in the yard somewhere a week or so in. Things like candy wrappers, frozen treat trash, the kind of stuff you can get out of a gas station cooler. Understand, my brother-in-law and my sister take pride in their clean yard. The dogs are very well behaved, and part of that is having a space that they can play and that it's safe. So when my brother-in-law found the trash, he wasn't too happy. At first, he didn't know who was doing it until he noticed 2 boys on bikes riding down the road. They were eating stuff and casually tossing the trash as they went. He first actually walked down to their nearest local neighbor. They are a retired elderly couple, and he asked them about the trash. They explained they had seen the boys and occasionally an older girl with food walking down the road, tossing things into the ditch. I need a sip of water, so we're hydrating. All right, we're hopping on hydration station. Cheers. Make sure you drink your water. I don't care what else you drink, but drink some water. So, brother-in-law, content with this shorthand investigation, decided to talk to the source. He walked over to the cabin in question and knocked. A guy probably maybe 10 years younger opened the door. Brother-in-law described him like some cheap car salesman type. We will call this guy Kevin for the sake of the theme. Brother-in-law kindly brought up the trash and explained that he had dogs, and due to being afraid that they might get a hold of something that might make them sick, if their kids could not toss trash around the neighborhood. This dude tries to argue, insisting that brother-in-law should just keep his dogs leashed and it's not his fault what happens, or at least something along those lines. Before brother-in-law could say anything, Kevin closed the door, and the last thing brother-in-law heard from the other side was laughter and the word hick being tossed around. Now, my brother-in-law is a surprisingly chill guy. He knows when to pick a fight, so he chooses to stay chill. That night, he explained what happened to my sister after she got home from work. She wanted to kick some tail, but brother-in-law talked her down. Things started to get a little more interesting a few days later when brother-in-law started noticing a lot more trash in his yard, like deeper in. As in, there is no way this got here unless it was tossed intentionally. So, brother-in-law decides to talk to them again, because it went so well the first time. He walks over, knocks, and gets the entitled Kevin again. From what my sister said, he told off brother-in-law, and it's not something they give a crap about, and that they have seen their dogs off leash, plus that brother-in-law and my sister were just hicks. So after getting the door slammed in his face, brother-in-law is starting to think of ways to handle the issue. But Kevin and his wife, Karen, tried beating him to the punch because of what happened. The next day, my sister came home and a cop was there. My sister knew the cop and they sat down. The officer said that they got a call about a dog attack. My sister had to have a laugh at that one. Why? Because my sister takes the dogs with her every day to work. She works as the appointment coordinator / secretary for a small privately owned landscaping company. Unless brother-in-law is off, the dogs are with her. The report was from earlier that day when no one would have been home. After confirming with my sister that no, the dogs did not run home, attack some kid, and run back, then explaining the issues with the people staying at the cabin, the cop decided to talk further with the people who called in. Later, my sister found out that they only got a warning, but the cop straight up told them that they were visitors and disturbing the residents was not a good idea. So for a couple of months, things quit. It seemed like the tiff was done, until our entitled vacationers started having parties. Now, the parties weren't loud. They seemed civil, but 2 weeks after the parties started, a trash bag was dumped into my sister's yard. My sister found it while out on the deck. It was still fairly early in the morning, sitting next to the driveway. She wasn't sure what happened, so she moved it into a bin and waited for brother-in-law. She told him what she found, and he decided to start setting up trail cams. Good idea. I was gonna say we need some cameras. He had a few left over from his days of hunting, figuring if it was Kevin and his family or some rando one, at least they would know soon. After setting them up, it didn't take long. He caught 2 really nice videos of one of the 2 boys and then their daughter dumping trash into their yard. Brother-in-law called the police and let them see what he caught on video. They couldn't get them in the trash before this, but they got 2 nice-sized fines for littering. My sister thinks the fines total had to be close to $550. I mean, what kind of lesson are we really teaching these children? Like, can you imagine packing up a bag of trash and then being like, okay, kids, I want you to go take this bag of trash and go throw it in the neighbor's yard. What a nice lesson. And then the cops come and you guys get slapped with a fine for littering. Lesson learned, everybody. Great lesson for the children. My Karen aunt freaked out over free champagne. When I was a kid, my parents' aunt and uncle got together to go to a super fancy restaurant on New Year's Eve. The restaurant was serving free champagne to everyone while they waited on their table reservations. Now, anyone in their right mind would be psyched to receive free champagne. Yeah. I love free anything. But not my aunt. When the drink was served to her, she saw that it was in a plastic champagne flute. This was obviously done for the sake of easy cleanup for the restaurant staff and the fact that there were a crap ton of people there. So they didn't want to run out of real champagne glasses for tables. But my aunt lost it. She started screaming at the hostess and wait staff, talking about how unacceptable it was to be serving champagne in a plastic cup, and called the restaurant trashy. This was one of the most high-end restaurants in the state, mind you. Now, this woman is a raging alcoholic, so you think that she would just be happy about free booze, but I guess she has standards on how she gets crap-faced. In true Karen fashion, she demanded to speak to the manager to yell at them too. My uncle, being the whipped husband he is, did absolutely nothing. My parents were mortified and wanted to just leave, but they had these plans for months. The rest of the night was insanely awkward, and they vowed to never go out to eat with my aunt again. This was in the 90s, before Karen shaming and the "can I speak to your manager" meme. So I unfortunately have no satisfying retribution follow-up to this, but my parents still talk about it to this day. I seriously wish I had a video. I seriously wish you had a video. Some people are very particular about that, especially, like, I know people who are particular about the type of glass, champagne glass, wine glass, like they're very particular about what glass their drink is served in. Personally, I'll drink it off a table with a straw. Like, I don't care, but other people do. Karen roommate story. Ugh, having a Karen as a roommate, quite literally, that's how I feel about it. At a point, fresh out of school, I was approached by an old friend to get a place with him. We had previously roomed and it was all good. We had a friend from school, a woman who was a good person, and recently her entire house became available, which meant there were 3 rooms to rent. I jumped at it because it was near my parents' house and not too far to commute to work. On the first day, my friend claimed the giant room upstairs, as the woman we were moving in with already had the main floor downstairs. On that day, I put all of my belongings into the room next to my friend's room on the top floor. I reasoned that I work nights, so I wanted to stay away from the main room. However, that day, I was forced to work a double shift, meaning I went to work at 2 in the evening and didn't get out until 7 in the morning. As I went to my new home, too tired to see straight, I saw my things dumped in a pile on the 2nd floor. This was my first introduction to KF. She wasn't there at the time, but I was informed by the other roommates that she did not wish to be on a loud floor, so she moved my stuff. This was the foundation for all interactions I had with KF for the remainder of our time living together. Almost immediately after, my level of the house was transformed into party central, not the quiet part of the house. After a month of asking people to keep it down, to dispose of rotting giant feasts left to fester, and constant partying, I told her off. This did not go well because I was dealing with a woman child who had never heard the term no or been asked to do anything in her entire life. It's like you could see the upper New York privilege boil to the top of her head. It was at this point that the roommate terrorism started. What began as lavishing the other roommates with dinners and going out without me turned into ugly, dirty tricks such as blasting music full tilt, knowing I work nights, leaving garbage in front of my door, and turning up the partying full tilt. Now, here comes the Karen part. Not me thinking that KF was the Karen. Wait a second. One day in confidence, the male roomie decided to inform me that KF had come to him and the other roommate about kicking me out. When they asked on what grounds, she said he is a former gang member and that I don't feel comfortable. She had also supplied some crocodile tears to go with this. Speak to anyone who has dealt with the Karens of the world and they will bring this up. A lie paired with the term uncomfortable and tears. Out of spite, this woman went this far to show her racism. But wait, how is that racism? Well, I never alluded to any gang activity or villainy, but she used the term gang member for a black guy who wears urban gear. Makes sense, right? And this was after a few weeks back when a crew of fools from the projects came over for a deal to buy white. The end of story. KF didn't get me kicked out, but her shadow of deceit hung over the house until we were finally evicted because she decided to move out and didn't want to pay 4 months back rent. To her credit, she did eventually get us a decent housemate for a few months, but she had a dog and KF never mentioned no dogs allowed, which led to the eviction. Honestly, this is just a mess. It's hard to keep up because I'm like, I would want no room in that house. There was way too much in there that I was like, that's a no for me. That's a no for me. The garbage, the partying, the Karen. Put the Karen aside, I wouldn't even want to live there. Now is not the time, Karen. Honestly, when is it ever the time for a Karen. Yesterday afternoon, I made some phone calls to some local cat boarding facilities. A friend is moving and will be displaced for a week, and his original sitter fell through at the last minute. I had zero hope on a Sunday afternoon over a holiday weekend, but here we go. I called the first place nearby that came up under cat boarding places near me, and a sweet lady answered immediately. Yay! I asked if she had current availability for 2 cats, and she said she doesn't board them, only dogs. I thanked her and I started to hang up. She then said, hey, hold on, or something, and I paused, thinking she might point me to another facility. Nope, she launched into a sermon. Huh? This is not verbatim. I was honestly too astonished to remember it all. Quote, I'm Karen. I don't even board my own cats when I travel. I just fill up their food and water bowls, put out extra litter trays, and have friends drop by to check on them. Let me tell you this, cats get stressed by being boarded and they stop eating. If they don't eat for 3 days, they die. Did you know that? It's terrible for them. You should make other arrangements for their well-being. It went on longer than that, and it thoroughly pissed me off. So I decided to be petty and lie. Oh, okay, I'll be sure to put out extra water and litter trays in my burned out house. I'm sure that won't stress them out. I didn't need your condescension today. Thanks. And I hung up. I hope she feels like shite. Edit to add, a couple of people have rightly called me out for calling her sweet, then complaining about her attitude. My apologies for unclear writing, but when I said she launched into a sermon, I was trying to convey that she went from sweet to scolding. She acted like I was an idiot for uprooting the cats needlessly. It just pissed me off that she had no idea what my circumstances were. Mine weren't that big of a deal, but someone else could be dealing with life-altering circumstances. Anyway, sorry for any confusion. All right, cat owners out there, I'm curious because I've never boarded a pet. I have someone watch Lila when I travel. I've never done the boarding route. If you have a cat, I'm sure boarding is stressful for dogs too, realistically. They want their home and they want their parents and their family. But let me know your thoughts on this. Had she said it in a nice way with good intentions of like, hey, by the way, just some advice, it could really stress them out, but at the end, none of your business. You have no idea what somebody's going through. Like it could have really truly been like an emergency and they just need a place for the cats for a bit. Let me know your thoughts. I'm just happy this neighbor's story was not about offense, if you know what I mean. I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy.